All right, so these are the 9.3 notes. The first part is just a warm up. So these are already in order. So in order to find the mean, you're going to add up all the numbers and divide by how many numbers there are. So, all right, so when you add those together, you get 325, and then we're going to divide that by 10 to get 32.5. The mode is the one that shows up most often. So any of them that repeat, that 35 is repeating. So mode would be 35. And the 34. Good catch. So you are allowed to have more than one mode, and you're allowed to have none as the mode. All right, the range, you're going to subtract the largest number minus the smallest number. So 38 minus 25 gets us 13. All right. And then since they're already in order, the minimum is all the way on the left. Maximum is all the way on the right. Median is right in the middle. So again, kind of just check each one off as we go. One on each side until you get to the middle. And you can see the 34 and the 34 are both the middle numbers. So you want to kind of think about the middle of that for the median. And that would, of course, be 34. And then you're going to look at, for Q1, the bottom half of the numbers and the top half of the numbers. And because the median was between 34 and 34, you actually want to count the 34, the top one in the top half and the bottom one in the bottom half. So that would be 29 for Q1 and the 35 for Q3. And IQR would be 35 minus 29, which would get us 6. 6? 6. Yeah. Okay. All right. So then what we're going to do with this data is actually put it on what's called a box plot. Sometimes it's called a box and whisker plot. So this box and whisker plot right here is for the data on the warm-up that we just did. So let's kind of point a couple things out. This point right here at the end, notice the bottom scale. They are counting by ones, but they're only writing every other number. So it is 24, 25, 26. So this one right here is at 25, which does represent the minimum. All the way up at the top, you have 38, which represents your maximum. And then you've got 3 lines on this box. One here, that's 29, that's your Q1. You have this box this line in the middle at 34. That's your that's your median. And then you have this last one here, which is at 35, which is your Q3. So that's how you would then make that box plot. All right, so let's go down here. Someone already calculated the 5-number summary for you, and the numbers are already in order, so we'll go ahead and check for outliers. Checking for outliers is what we did on the lesson before. We have to check the low end as well as the high end. And the low formula, I'll write this out. And the high formula, and then again, all the numbers are given to us, so we'll just plug in things as we need to. And then type that into a calculator. Remember, if you are using a calculator, like on your phone or something, make sure you multiply the 1.5 times the 12 and then subtract. Otherwise, your calculator usually does it in a funny order. All right, Q3. We get us 106. So when you check for outliers, anything that's lower than the low number is an outlier. Anything higher than the high number is an outlier. So when it says check for outliers, you found your boundaries, and then anything higher or lower than that is an outlier. So if you look back at your data, 47 is going to be smaller than 58. I don't have any numbers larger than 106. So we would say 47 is an outlier. Now, for outliers on your box plot, this doesn't happen very often, but every once in a while you get an outlier. If something is an outlier, instead of making it the minimum, you're going to kind of star it, and then this next number up becomes your minimum. So 47 just becomes like a star on your box plot and kind of gets thrown out of the data. So we're going to come down here. We're going to put a star at 47. And then we're going to let our new minimum be the 74. So we'll put a dot at 74 for the minimum. Then we'll put a line at 76. That's our Q1. Another line at 85, our median. Another line at 88. Again, you're just kind of approximating there. And then I had the last dot, the maximum at 90. And those 3 lines here then create that box part, and then you can just attach it. And you can see that if we had to include that outlier in it, the line would have been super long to get out there. All right. Well, let's look at example 2. This time our numbers are in order, but they did not find everything for us. So we'll go ahead and do that. Minimum 2, max 13. Finding the median. Median is 8. And then since median is 8, the 8 does not get included in the top or the bottom half. And you just have to find the median then between the 2, 3, 5, and 6. So that would fall right here. The middle of 3 and 5 would be 4. And this would fall right here. And the middle of 12 and 12 would be 12. IQR is 12 minus 4, which would get us 8. Checking for outliers again. Again, you got to do the low and the high, so you can find the boundary on each side. All right, so the low boundary would be Q1, high boundary. Right, so 4 minus 1.5 times 8, and 12 plus 1.5 times 8. And we get an answer of -8. And we get an answer of 24. So, do you have any numbers that are smaller than -8? No. Any numbers larger than 24? No. So no outliers. If there's no outliers, that means you would keep the minimum and maximum the same. Nothing would get a star, and you would just go straight into creating the box plot. So let me make this a little smaller so I can see up here for my minimum, maximum stuff. All right, here we go. So your minimum would be 2, put a dot. Q1 is 4, put a line. Median 8, put a line. Q3, 12, put a line. Max 13, put a dot. And then the last example is a box plot that's kind of already been drawn for you. Notice they do theirs a little bit differently. Instead of putting dots on either side, they went ahead and put a line. You see it different ways in different places. So the median is always going to be this middle line here. So that looks like that's at 30. Notice they're counting by 5s down here. The maximum, this value right here, would be 90. Q1 is over here at 15, and your range would be your maximum, which was 90, minus your minimum, which would be 5, giving us a range of 85.